You know, and then you think, well, I hope she never knew what happened. I hope she knew what never happened, because if she needed anybody at that moment in time, and the only person that second is you, Mr. Crystal, and you head the other way, and we don't know it, we don't know why. The only thing we have is what we heard today and last November 6th. And while I'm not the trier of fact, I have to go through each charge, each element, and say, like, do I believe it was someone else in the truck? I guess you could always talk about possibilities and, you know, whatever. It's clear. It's clear you were the driver of the F-150. It's clear you went through that stop sign, knowingly or not. I mean, you know, you tell your cousin's wife, or she hears it, that you're asleep. Maybe you were asleep. I mean, alcohol, fatigue, so many things can cause a person to be asleep or fall asleep. We hear people fall asleep driving. And then you focus on each element and you go through it, and you're trying to determine, do I believe there was a crime? Each level, each different offense. Do I believe there's probable cause to believe you committed the offense? Because if you focus on, well, somehow an accident can cause a person to be disoriented, certainly that's the case, probably happens all the time. But the minute somebody back at the house hears, I stayed away because the cops were there, makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Makes me want to throw up. Because then, regardless of whatever happened whenever, what would be your reason to stay away? You know this is so bad, you got to say goodbye to your kids? You have individual discussions with your kids? I mean, I don't dispute any of the friends and family that came to your house. I mean, when you think about it, your wife Kathy and her family, your mother, whoever else, all the people that love you, Mr. Crystal, they, from what I heard, they didn't know where you were. They did not know where you were. They're thinking the worst, like Miss Haverkamp said, and they think you're dead, laying in a field, bleeding out, or whatever. So that entire time, until you come upon the home, at 4:30-ish, or whatever, timing isn't exact. All we know is the accident is 8:23, 8:30, just say whatever, 8:30, 4:30. I mean, it's 8 hours. It's 8 hours later. It's 8 hours later with no blood test. No blood test. No other investigation that can be done in that 8 hours. And we can't chalk it all up to disorientation. Because I don't think disorientation, even from a car accident, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a neurological person, or that's a way to say it, probably not, would cause you to disseminate. When do I go home? When do I don't? When do I go home? The police aren't there. Okay, now I go home. I mean, just the fact that your wife is going out of her head because she doesn't know if you're dead or not. And no communication. So you're left with thinking, I'm left with thinking, if you left, and you stayed away purposefully, not to harm your family, not to worry your mother and your wife, and you know the kids are a little in their sleep maybe, but they know something's up, they're not dumb. You stay away purposefully because you're so freaked out that you're going to be in trouble for drinking and driving and causing an accident that you knew was so bad. I don't know. I hate to think that you'd immediately leave knowing that Miranda Baggis needed your help, that she had 2 5-year-olds in the back seat that needed your help. could have used your help. We don't know. And like I said, even if you chalk it up to disorientation, the statements of I could be in big trouble. You know, the cops were all around. I was here earlier. 1.5 miles in 8 hours. You know, I'm sure there have been stories with a guy with 2 broken legs and he dragged himself somewhere out of some danger. I mean, we've heard stories weirder than that, right? 1.5 miles in 8 hours. It really appears that you stayed away on purpose, which puts this cloud over everything as if it's not bad enough. This case is horrific. It's sickening. It's so very, very sad. And I mean, I don't want to sound, you know, too philosophical or whatever, and I get a lot of cases over the years. I've had so many sad ones, but, you know, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and Miranda Baggis should be with her family. And I get that everybody, including the Crystal family, can see how sad this is. But from what I've heard, there's a different twist. And it's looked at differently when someone is trying to not be found, someone's trying to stay away from the police. Even if you'd say, you know what, I'm squeamish and I can't help people when they're hurt. I mean, maybe there are people, I'm sure there are people like that. There's people like that. But it has the appearance that you're staying away, that you don't want to talk, you don't want to discuss it with anybody, you don't stay and talk to Mr. Kalenda and his dad, who are there to help. Who are there to help. They have nothing to do with anything. They're there to help. So I'm binding you over on all 6 charges. I know that some of the charges are pled in the alternative perhaps, but the reality of this is that clearly there's been evidence that you had significant alcohol in your system. We'll never know the exact blood alcohol level. We'll never know the exact blood alcohol level. Because for the time period that you stayed away, the significant portion of it I claim is on purpose. That's why you left the scene. There's no way to test that.